Good morning, everyone. I cannot believe it's another Tuesday. How quickly the time is flying by. My name is Sherry Minnie, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Colorado, and I live in a small town called Keensburg, and we're about 45 minutes northeast of Denver. So today we're going to do our first Christmas card of the season. I've gotten quite a few items from the new September to December mini catalog, and I decided I better get using them or I'll never get them all used before the catalog goes away. So here's our card and the envelope that goes with it. I need to give a quick shout out to Kathy Howes of Stampin' with Kathy for the layout and the really pretty much the whole card. I kind of cased her whole card. Kathy is another demonstrator here in Colorado, and I've known her for several years. So here's our card, it's kind of simple with a shepherd greeting on the inside. And what we're using today is, this is a standalone stamp set. It does not have dies. It's just called the Shepherd's Care. And we're using quite a few of the pieces in here. We're using the stars, the inside greeting, of course the shepherd, peace on earth, and Bethlehem, and this big star and the little star. So I think there's only one that we're not actually using today. In addition, we're going to use a few dies. We're going to use the Nested Essentials die, and I'm using the second from the largest, kind of diamond shaped. Not real sure what you call this shape, but this is the one we're going to be using. And then for just our little greeting, we'll be using the stitched rectangles, and I'm going to be using this die right there. For our ink colors, we're going to be using several, beginning with the Versamark. We'll use this for the star on our focal point in the front. We'll be using Night of Navy for most of our stamping, Balmy Blue for just the inside, little star on the inside, and then we'll be using Whisper White for our stars in the Bethlehem Village. So that's everything we need there. We'll also be using some white embossing powder, and these are some sequins. I believe these were in the Neutrals adhesive back sequin pack, and I'm choosing to use the white. You could use any embellishment that you might have in your stash. These are certainly not necessary. They're a little bit flatter, and since I think this is the card I'm going to do for my Christmas cards, and I'll be mailing a whole bunch of them, I don't want to have to pay extra postage for every one that I'm going to be mailing. And so I think that's it for the supplies. For our packet, we will be using, you'll have your envelope, of course. You'll have a small piece of basic white to stamp the front greeting on. You'll have a piece of Balmy Blue. I think this is about 2 3/4 by 5 or so, just enough to get it stamped image and cut out. You'll have a piece of Night of Navy. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And of course we'll have our card base. This is the thick Whisper White, thick basic white. Boy, Whisper White's been several years ago. And it is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. This is usually the size card that I do. So to begin with, I think we'll get our stamping out of the way. Do that all first. So on your Balmy Blue piece, we're going to take our Night of Navy ink pad. We're going to take our shepherd image, and since it's a little bit bigger, I kind of ink it this way. Take my pad to the stamp rather than the stamp to the ink pad. Just make sure you have good coverage. Now this is kind of a shaded, shadowed image, so you don't get a real, it just makes it look so pretty without it being a solid image. It's a little bit larger, so I give it a minute or two, and I put a little pressure on the bottom to make sure we get a good image. And there's that. All right, now let's see, we need to do our greeting for the front. And you're going to take your little strip of Whisper Basic White. Wow, why am I going back so far? All right, and then we'll stamp this in the middle. It just says Peace on Earth. And then we'll do the inside of our card. And we will do praying that you will feel the Good Shepherd's care in this season and throughout the coming year. It's certainly something I wish for everyone that I send a card to. And we will could be a little straighter maybe, but I think we'll go for it. And then I think that's it for the Night of Navy. Then we'll just take our Balmy Blue, and we only have two little stars. I wanted to put something on the inside, just like Kathy did. And then I decided to use that same little star on my envelope. I may do something to the flap. I may emboss it or something, but I haven't made that decision yet. And that's it for the Balmy Blue. Okay. So now for our Night of Navy piece. Well, before I go to that, let me show you what we would do here. As you know, I don't bring my Stampin' and Emboss machine. And actually, this could be done on the Mini, so I could have done it over here. But we're just going to use our stitched rectangle piece right there to cut out the Peace on Earth. And then for our shepherd, we're using the second largest Nested Essentials kind of diamond-shaped die. And what I did is you cut off a little bit of the shepherd's bottom of his cloak, but I just put it on here so that I would get the complete lamb. And then I just ran it through. And when you do that, you end up with this. And then here is the Peace on Earth piece. And we will be putting dimensionals on the back of our... Now, one thing I will tell you, as I see I've got stuff on my mat here. The navy blue ink, since it's such a dark ink, it does take a little bit of time. And this is a card that we will be doing in class next week. So we'll probably stamp this first and then set it off to the side for just a little bit so that it can dry. I kind of smudged them, some of them on the samples that I was doing, and realized what was going on. Especially when I put it through the Stampin' and Emboss and cutting machine, because the pressure really pushed down on that ink and I kind of smeared it. So we'll put those on the back of there. And then for the little piece, let me find my poke tool. I know it's in here somewhere. It's just hiding from me. Oh, maybe it's not hiding from me. Oh, here it is. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to just put dimensionals on this end because our Balmy Blue piece will be already raised up, and I just will put it on here, and then we'll just put some glue or a glue dot on that end to attach it to the blue focal point. So, and I think I had room for like 3 or so. Okay, that is done. Okay, now for our Night of Navy piece, and I did not bring, did I bring over my little my little pad that I usually do when I heat emboss something, but it doesn't look like it did. But anyway, you know the little, it's got cornstarch or something in it, and I always rub it. I'm just going to take my chances and hope that I can get a fairly decent image here without having that little pad thing. Now, I will tell you that I have put this star on my Stamparatus, and as you know, we don't sell it anymore, which everybody wishes we did, but we do not. The reason I'm doing that is because I want this star to be really dark when I emboss it. And so as you can see on here, there's no blue showing through. If you only stamp it one time and then heat emboss it, you still get the faint dark blue underneath. I didn't want that. I wanted my star to be totally white. So something that you may not know, you can emboss it, heat it up, and then let it cool off, and then you can stamp it again and get a darker image. So I won't be doing that over here because I'd have to heat it with my tool. But what I did is I stamped it, I ran it through the embossing powder, heated it with the tool, let it cool, brought it over here and stamped it again. So really all we're doing is doing the first part of this. And I seem to have even misplaced my magnet, but I think we'll be fine. So just make sure that it's done really well. And what I did is I stamped it. Whoops. Don't have as much room here as I do in my studio. I wished I had my magnet. It must have popped off. Okay, and we're going to put it down. And I'm not even straight. Okay. I'm going to lift it up, trying my best not to move it because I'm not right up in the corner like I should be. I am going to ink it one more time, put it down, take it out, and I will take the white embossing powder. Stampin' Up! Has come out with a new line of embossing powders. They're called Wow, and I do like them. I think I like them better than I did the old ones. But I'm just gonna, you know, we've all done this, and so you're all familiar with this. And we just put it in the powder. Now, once I put the powder on, it can sit quite a while before I heat it, so that's why I don't worry about doing that over here. And then I'll go over as soon as I'm done with the video, and I will be putting the heat to it and taking off all these little pieces that I got on with my fingers. Okay, so that takes care of that. And like I say, once it's embossed, we end up with this. Okay, now what I did on this one, and I thought I had one that I hadn't done yet, but I guess I don't. I just took this little like star stamp, and this is where I used the white craft ink, Whisper White they call it, pigment ink, but it's a different type of ink than what we normally use, and I'll show you when I do my little Bethlehem here. So I just inked this up and stamped it, and I tried not to go much lower than the star so that it really did look like stars and not, if I'd gone all the way down, it looks more like a snowflake scene, and that's not what I was after. So on this one, it does take time to dry, and I'm not sure, I'll try not to mess it up, but if you touch it, you'll smear it. So I'm going to take my little Bethlehem scene and I'm going to put it down here. Now, you could also do this stamp in the Night of Navy and just have a reflection down here, and I may do a couple like that. I didn't mind the white, but it does, I don't really want it to detract from my star, and it does a little bit. All right, now we're going to have to work on that without touching it, which ought to be fun. So I'm going to take off these. Backings. And we are going to take this and just kind of, I put it down fairly close to the bottom, trying to make sure that it was straight, and put it on there like that. Now we need to take this, oh, first of all, I'll shut up my white ink so I don't make a mess. I need to take this And normally I would use, oh, that's not very straight, is it? No. Let's see if I can get any of this off without totally messing it up and twisting it a little bit. It's kind of hard sometimes to get there. That's much better. As you can see, I stamped these last night and they've had all night to dry, but this will take a half an hour or so to dry. So instead of using my tape runner, I'm going to actually use my liquid glue so that I don't have to put too much pressure on this card. You can see I did some practicing. Here's how it looks if you only stamp it one time, and I didn't like that blue showing through. That's why I decided to stamp the star twice. Okay, we'll see if we can get this on here without too much of a hassle. Okay, I think we're pretty good. Then we will take our piece on Earth. We'll take off the backings of our little tiny mini dimensionals. I'm going to just take my green glue, put a little on the edge, and then I just kind of put this in the middle. I lined it up with the edge of my Night of Navy piece. Tried to get it as straight as I could. And that's it, except for our little bling. And again, as I said, you can use whatever you would like to use. You certainly can do that. And there's two sizes here, so I'm taking a small one and a larger one, putting right there. And then I think I'll put a larger one, like right up there. All right, that's it, everyone. I'm so glad you, I hope you like it. I really do like it. I think it's simple enough that I make about 150 Christmas cards. So I think I can handle that with this. We'll see. I always have good intentions. But anyway, here's our card. Here's our envelope. And here's our sample and envelope that I made. So thank you so much for taking time to watch this. I so appreciate it. I know your time is valuable. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening whenever you choose to watch this. And may God bless each and every one of you. And I shall see you really soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.